So I recently started a new job where I deliver packages for Amazon. And on my first day alone, I was presented with a very important question. One of the doormats of this people that I was delivering to had this question. This is the doormat that they had. It was much more used. Were Ross and Rachel on a break? I thought about it for a moment, and obviously the answer is no. Ross and Rachel were not on a break. Ross is a petulant man-child who ran away from a fight before it was over and ruined his relationship with Rachel for another 6 seasons. I didn't have the last part. So, let's talk about the background. You already heard the actual argument in the scene, but we have Ross Geller and Rachel Green. They are longtime friends. They grew up in the same neighborhood. Ross's sister, Monica, Sarah Michelle Geller, was Rachel's best friend, and the two of them did everything together. Ross has been in love with Rachel since they were teenagers. Starting in season 2 of the TV show Friends, Ross and Rachel get together. They are finally become boyfriend and girlfriend. And everything seems to be good, except that the fact that this is TV. So, of course, there's going to be something that comes up that is going to present them with a challenge, and that happens a year later in season 3. They're about to have their anniversary dinner, their 1-year anniversary dinner, except that Rachel has had this new job for a few months, and as you heard in the argument that we dramatized, Rachel has been spending a lot of her time at this job, and Ross is upset about all of that. So what happens is the argument that you heard. They have this back and forth argument. Mark, the secretary, comes up, and Ross storms out as Rachel says, no, I mean a break from us. And when we come back from a commercial break, the scene is much different. Ross shows up at a club that Joey and Chandler are at, and a woman who works at a copy, kind of like a Kinko's or just a copy center, which is something that doesn't really exist anymore because we're 35 years in the future. So this copy girl, that's what the show refers to her as, although they do give her a name. Her name is Chloe. But copy girl is obsessed with Ross, obsessed with dinosaurs, gets really excited when Ross shows up. So much so that Joey and Chandler kind of get a little bit upset because they thought that they were going to have all 3 of them together, which didn't happen. Because, in fact, she seduced Rachel, or no, seduced Ross, got him to dance, kissed him, and then we cut to the next morning where Ross is in bed and she emerges from the bathroom having taken a shower at Ross's apartment. Rachel then shows up and she is hidden behind the door. They want to get back together. I've actually forgotten a big piece of this because the entire time that Ross is at the club with Joey and Chandler and Chloe, Rachel is trying to call him, and he's not home to answer because he's out at the club because we don't have cell phones on the regular basis just yet. This all could have been solved had one of them had a cell phone. So, Ross wakes up, he listens to his answering machine and realizes that Rachel wants to stay together. Actually, no, because before that, he calls from the club and talks to Rachel, but Mark, her secretary, has brought comfort food to Rachel's apartment, and Ross can hear him in the background. There's a moment where you think that maybe they're just going to communicate finally and things are going to be good. Mark says something. Ross hears that, says, "Oh, I understand," hangs up the phone, and then goes and has this one-night stand with Chloe. The next morning, finally, Ross sees, "Oh no, she's coming over. We're going to get back together. Everything's going to be great." Tries to get rid of Chloe as fast as possible, but as he opens the door, Rachel is on the other side, and so he has to hide Chloe behind the open door. They kiss and make up. Rachel leaves, goes to work. Eventually, Chloe leaves, and Rachel does eventually find out about Chloe because of what is called the thread, or I forget exactly what it was, but there's the trail. It's the trail from Chloe to Rachel that eventually ends with Gunter, who Gunter's in love with Rachel and refuses. Well, in season 3, she doesn't know it just yet, but Gunther eventually finds out. Ed tells Rachel because, of course, he would. He's trying to sabotage their relationship. So, the whole thing comes down to a very big misunderstanding of whether or not they were on a break. And, of course, the answer is no. Because the argument never gets finished. They're in the... Rachel says, "Oh, we need to take a break from us." And Ross just leaves. Doesn't say anything else, doesn't say, "Yeah, I think you're right," or "No, let's figure this out." He just leaves. The argument is over. Therefore, they cannot be on a break because they haven't agreed to be on a break. Which is part of the next thing. There was no agreement. There's nothing, okay, what does a break mean? If we're gonna talk about word crimes from Webster, we need to understand that there were no words exchanged over what this break means. It wasn't a break up, although Ross seems to think that that's what it was. But that's what he thinks. It's not what he confirmed with Rachel. There's communication that isn't happening. And the last piece of this is that the male horniness trope of, "Oh, there's a girl who wants to sleep with me, I'm going to sleep with her," that always seems to happen in these shows, is not an excuse for Ross to go and do what he did. I will not be taking questions because I'm right. I would also go on to say that the fact that he constantly has to say, "Yes, we were on a break," over and over and over again means that nobody knows that they were on a break, because if they were on a break, it would be obvious. The end.
Yay, good clapping, Reverend.
I guess I will take questions if you have any.
Yeah.
So many questions.
Brandon has a
list.
Google Doc.
Hold on, time out. I feel ganged up on if there's a Google Doc.
Do you feel like maybe you're ganged up on because everyone knows that you're wrong?
You did say a lot more. So I have more to talk about. Right? So in the beginning you said 6 seasons. How long is a season? Time-wise, real life. Like, what's it like?
It's about a year.
About a year.
Yes.
Supposed to take.
It's supposed to take place over the course of a year.
So then you're using heteronormative rules then, right? That's sorry, not heteronormative
Well,
rules. I meant to say monogamous rules. I don't know
There
why
we
I
go.
said
Okay.
Yes.
heteronormative.
Yes.
All right. So in people who are engaging in monogamy tend to date a lot of people at once during their monogamy, right? So if they were indeed on a break, then that feels more normal. That's just a side argument. I feel like without rules, that might be acceptable if they were on a break. But you're arguing that they weren't on a break, right?
Kind of like common law break.
So how would you define a break? If a break were to be just without defining rules, what would the general description of that be?
Well, within a monogamous couple or a polyamorous couple, for that matter, the rules would be similar, I would think, in that a break would be when the one or both members of the coupling have chosen to or choose to say, hey, we are no longer going to be exclusively romantic with each other, or in the case of polyamory would just be you and I are no longer romantically engaged at the moment, so we are going to take a break from that. That's how I understand it. Does that answer?
So there's still exclusivity within the break, you're just not engaging in the relationship as it was in the monogamous, which is what we would probably assume was happening here.
Yes, I think we do assume that there's monogamy going on here. As the addition of another sexual partner into Ross's life is what seems to be the impetus for the argument. So I missed, was the other part of that question? Or was there another part of the question? No? Okay. I'm gonna, Adam?
Is your stance that a person can't unilaterally withdraw consent from a relationship?
Thank you.
Sorry. A little harder of a question than,
Someone can't unilaterally just withdraw consent. He's saying Ross didn't agree that they were on a break, so it wasn't a break.
Yeah, we feel like we should
Rachel
let Jen
should have
give the better
Right,
answer to
right.
this.
So-
Rachel should have the right. Sorry.
I do think that one person could unilaterally withdraw from a relationship, but that is not what happened. Rachel does not say, I want to take a break. She says, maybe we should take a break. The words that are exchanged are not, we are done, we are on a break, we are over. It is, maybe we should take a break. It is posing a thought, a question.
Can we check the transcript? I think she's. I've only heard of this time.
Yeah. Yeah, we literally have a transcript though. So
But is it? Is it maybe or is it? I think we should.
I don't know. Look, maybe we should take a break.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
should we check the transcript?
so you said a lot of things, so I'm not exactly remembering the context of this, but at some point I wrote a quote, you said, we're going to get back together. Do you remember who said that and what the context of that was? I was trying to look at the type.
I'm sorry.
I believe what I said was a hypothetical in terms of their agreement. Are we going to get back together? Like, is there a possibility, or is the break, are we over, or are we just taking a pause because our lives are too busy right now? Was there?
You did just say during the break in your
Yes, because it would be part of the agreement. They did not come to any kind of agreement about taking a break.
So if they never made an agreement about taking a break, then they were together the whole time, and so then Ross's only crime was that he cheated.
Yes, but the argument here is whether or not they were on break or not. Ross cheated, period.
So you're only
Because they weren't on a break. Like
so you're just arguing that they weren't on a break in terms of like they were in a relationship then. That's your argument.
Yeah, that is the crux of our argument. Were they in a relationship when Ross had sex with another woman or not?
Was Ross cheating or not? That is, if they were on a break, not cheating. If they weren't on a break, obviously that is cheating because they agreed to be monogamous.
Writing on Brentlin.
I didn't realize that was the full extent of the argument.
Writing on
Do you regret changing from no questions to questions?
Yes, I do.
I'm not sure if this is a question or comment, but I do feel like the time that's passed between the show and now, we're looking at it with today's eyes, and we really need to go back and figure out within 90s culture what a break entailed, what were the expectations at that time.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah, so we watched it as children. Mom and Dad, who watched it as adults. How did you feel? Did you feel like they were or were
I
not
don't-
on a break?
I don't remember how I felt then,
Okay.
and I don't know how I feel now.
Oh.
So I don't, how much time happened between their argument and the cheating
about 2 hours.
Yes, but I can't reach
in real life?
In
here.
the show, it was about 2 hours.
So,
Ross left the house, went to the club. Sometime after getting to the club, he went home with this girl, and
yeah,
that was all. Yeah.
I mean, I could see if it were like a year that they hadn't had a relationship, but 2 hours is not that much. Yeah. 2
Well,
hours is kind of,
Even if it's only 2 hours, like she might say, "What an asshole! We broke up and then he slept with someone else only 2 hours later," and people might be like, "Oh yeah, what an asshole!" But it's still not cheating. It's only cheating if they are currently in a monogamous relationship.
I think the problem is they were on a break, but they had different expectations of what a break was.
I'm fine with that. That's on my team.
Interesting. I would argue that within the 2 episodes that this takes place over, even 90s culture didn't have a definition, because the whole argument of weren't they on a break starts the moment Rachel finds out, and so nobody even in the 90s was clear as to whether or not they were on a break. So looking at it from our modern perspective is just as legitimate as looking at it from the 25 years or 35 years ago. Wasn't it a break? And
so I'm good, I don't know, so does on a break different from them breaking up? Does on a break imply we're going to get back together again after some period of time?
I think the implication is that yes, that being on a break implies we will get back together, or we will have a further conversation deeper into the break to see if this is something. The break is something we want to make it permanent, kind of like a trial separation almost, before the actual separation.
So versus just breaking up?
Yeah, versus just breaking up.
So I guess I want to explore an analogous situation with you. So if you had a partner and you were arguing about whether or not you should go somewhere, and you said, maybe we shouldn't go, and they stormed off. What would you think was happening? Would you think that you were going or not going?
I wouldn't know because the communication was not clear.
Well,
The argument wasn't over. Therefore, if they're going, they're going. Like that's.
that's what I'm saying. Do you think that they left to go to the party, or would you think that they are now somewhere upset and thinking that you're not going because
I honestly would not know what to think because they did not tell me.
Okay.
And until I have further clarification, I cannot say one way or the other.
Well, I do agree with you in the sense that I would personally also have to assume that the person did not just leave me to go to this thing. But, I mean, really, I guess it might depend on the person who you're dating.
I mean, that's
So,
the analogy doesn't track perfectly because you can go to the event together. It's more like, what if they said, maybe we shouldn't go together, and the other person stormed off, right? Ross can't storm off to be in a relationship all by himself.
that's true, yeah.
This is not nearly as important. How many episodes was the gap between it happening and Gunter telling Rachel?
It was the next episode.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, they actually, because I'm thinking about how I watched it this morning, which was in binge fashion, where it went from one episode to the next. The next episode, which aired on February 20th, 1997, was opens with Ross in bed and Chloe coming out of his bathroom. And then from there, it is, he finds out about Rachel, and then they find out about the trail, and he has to go and confront everybody. And the end of the episode is Ross and Rachel having the argument again and officially breaking up.
Thank you.
I don't know, I kind of feel like the whole argument of whether or not they were on the break is sideways to the point. Because if Ross had any hope of getting back together with her one day, like, it's incredibly naive of him to think that she wouldn't be unhappy about this. So whether or not they had agreed upon this structure, he had to, like, part of his mind know, like, I'm creating problems for myself in the future if I do this.
He up until the moment where Chloe kisses him, he is resistant to her advances. So like he knows that he shouldn't be doing this. And it's not until the horny man trope gets kicked in, where like, oh, she's throwing herself at me, how can I possibly say no? That he actually goes, which is why I believe that he knew they weren't on a break, because if they were on a break, he would have been like, yeah, sure, let's do this. Especially after he called and Mark was over at Rachel's house.
I had two questions and I have a comment. So, you defined earlier you thought of a break as being still exclusive but not engaging in relationships. So even if he wasn't a break, he probably wouldn't have thought, by your definition, that he should be engaged in that behavior. I also you answered one of my questions. I wanted to know, do you think that Rachel thought that they were on a break, and also do you think that Ross thought that they were on a break?
I do believe that Ross I don't believe Ross thought they were really on a break, because the way he's acting towards Chloe before the break, or before the their one night stand is like, no, we're not. He calls Rachel, tries to sort things out with her. I don't think Rachel thought they were on a break. I think Rachel was trying to get some closure on the argument that they had been having, to make sure that Ross understood that they weren't on a break, and that they were just arguing about things and trying to figure out life with her working.
All right. Let us thank Ben again for his lovely but incorrect presentation.